Okay, guys, so today we're talking about net worth. So today's topic has a lot of discussion. So if we're able to do it as a class, we'll be talking a lot as a group, or on the video, it's mostly going to be me sharing information with you. So as well as reflecting. The first thing I want you to reflect about is, what does it mean for a family to be wealthy? So think about, I know that nobody should judge, but people will jump to conclusions and say, okay, so that person has nice jeans on, they have Jordans, he's with somebody and she has a Gucci bag and some heels. And so you look at someone or their clothes, their car, their house, and you make a judgment as to whether or not you think they're wealthy. Well, wealth is not just based on materialistic things, meaning physical things such as clothes, jewelry, house, car. Wealth has to do with assets and liabilities. So that's what we're learning about today. So today we're going to be talking about two families. So we have family A over here. There's 2 adults and 2 children. They live in this home. They drive a Nissan. They have plain wedding bands. Looks like they have a bank account. They do have a couple credit cards and some furniture. Then over here, family B, they have a larger house, a larger brick home. 2 adults, 2 children. They have 2 cars. They have the Nissan and they have an SUV. They have a painting. They have jewelry with stones in it. More credit cards as well as a bank account. And it looks like more plush furniture. So I want you to think, which family, I want you to make a guess and we'll see if it's true. Which family do you think is wealthier? So I'm going to be honest, it looks like there's more going on over here with family B, right? They have a bigger house, they have more cars, they have more materialistic things. But let's see if that means that they're actually wealthier. So their house is worth $100,000 and they owe $18,000. Okay, so that's for family A. Family B, they have jewelry and paintings and things that are worth $10,000. They owe $5,600. I'm gonna keep looking. So family B, their house is worth $400,000. They still owe $350,000. We're looking at their car. It's worth $22,000. They don't owe anything, so that's good. The other, they owe a lot on their cars. So furniture over here with family A, it's worth quite a bit. They don't owe much. Wow, furniture, family B owes a lot. Family A, they have credit cards of $59. Family B has $18,000 in credit cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and figure out all of this information about the family, and we are going to put it on our paper for today. But before we do that, let's go ahead and reflect on some things. So does it make you rich or wealthy to have a lot of things? Why or why not? So if you go back and look at what these families have, although it looks like family B has a lot more, it doesn't make them wealthier, right? Because let's take, for example, the cars. This car is worth $22,000 and they don't owe anything on it. So over here, their cars are worth $79,000. They still owe $57,000. They are still paying the bank for the money that they borrowed to have the cars. They don't own the cars outright. Over here, they actually own the vehicle. So it does not make you rich or wealthy to have a lot of things. What makes you wealthy is when you have more assets or more things that you own than liabilities or money that you owe. Okay. So how do most people purchase expensive things such as a car or a house? Well, people don't go with cash. They don't buy a $20,000 car and they don't have a suitcase of money and open the suitcase with all this cash in it. What they generally do is they borrow money. So they're saying that based on my income and these payments that I make, I will be able to afford it over a certain period of time. It's not that you are giving them all of the money, but you're essentially guaranteeing them that you will pay them back. And most of the time it's with interest, so it costs you more. So what does it mean to have debt? So to have debt, it means that you owe someone money. That means that it is not your item outright until you pay for it. Okay, so if let's say I go buy Jordans and I put them on my credit card, those aren't technically mine, or they're not an asset or some positive value until I pay them off completely. Okay, so now we're going to be learning some new words. I've already been saying assets and liabilities. So assets are the things that you own. So for example, cash, bank accounts, investments, your house. So you should be writing this on your notes. Liabilities are the things that you owe. So that's the money you owe someone. So a mortgage, that's like the house payment. A car loan, credit card balances. And then net worth is the value of your assets minus the liabilities. So you are only worth the value of what you have minus how much you owe towards it. All right, so we should have already filled out our vocabulary words. And so now what we're going to do is work on our net worth worksheet. So we are going to take the amounts that we had earlier in the PowerPoint and we are going to fill them into the table. So I'll go ahead and tell them to you. So for family A, it says that their house is worth $100,000, but they owe $18,000. So the asset is going to be what the house is worth. So the house is worth $100,000, but they owe $18,000. So that's going to be our liability. Okay. Then it says their auto. So their vehicle, their car is worth $22,000. And they owe $0. Their furniture is worth $25,000. They owe $450. All right, oopsies, I'm sorry. They owe $450. That should have been here. Okay. Then their bank accounts. It says they have $20,000 account, $47,000 retirement, and $50 in cash. Oh, sorry, credit cards. So credit cards are always going to be a liability because that's money that you owe. They owe $59. And then let's see, we have bank account is $20,000. So that's an asset. There's no liability with our bank account. Retirement accounts, they have $47,000. Cash, they have $50. And loans, doesn't say anything about loans, other loans or anything like that. And value of jewelry and art, their wedding rings are worth $775. Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and total up their assets and total their liabilities. And then you're going to go ahead and I'll put up the amounts for family B and you can fill in the column for family B. So go ahead and press pause and you should be adding your assets and then adding your liabilities. All right, guys, so I want you to go ahead and fill out your table for family B. So you should be writing all of the assets, so what everything is worth, and then all of the liabilities, which is what they owe, and then finish your table off with your totals at the bottom. Okay, so I went ahead and finished my table, and what I'm going to do is then find their total net worth. So their net worth is their assets. So for family A, that's going to be $214,825 minus their liabilities, so $18,509. And you're going to want to make sure you line up your decimal, which is at the end, so then 18,509, and you should go ahead and subtract. All right, guys, so I found that family A has a net worth of $196,316. Family B only has a net worth of $153,625. So although family B has a lot more of the tangible, like physical things that would make you think that they're wealthy, they are a lot more in debt as well. So that puts them at both of them have a positive net worth. Neither of them are in debt, but family B has a lot more debt. So which items did not count as an asset or a liability? So there were things like, for example, the retirement account. That was just an asset because that is positive money that you have. There is nothing that they owe in that case, so that wasn't a liability. Then there are things like credit cards. That was only a liability because they don't have any money. There's not a part of that that is an asset for them. So make sure you write that in a complete sentence. So which family has the greatest net worth? So we said that family B does. And imagine you worked for a bank. If both families request a $10,000 loan, which family do you think best qualifies for it? So a bank wants to loan money to someone who will and can afford to pay it back. So who has more money to be able to pay it back? Who has a better track record of paying money back, right? So family A, they have a $100,000 house, but they only owe $18,000. So they have paid back $82,000, right? Over here, family B, they own a $400,000 house, but they still owe $350,000. So if I was the banker, I would go with family A because they have a higher net worth and a better history of paying on their debt or their liabilities. So why is it important to have a positive net worth? So having a positive net worth, first of all, it allows you to pay for things. You have positive amounts of money towards your name. Also, it enables you to do more with your money and more with your life. So if you have a positive net worth, then you can buy a car, rent, or buy a house, things like that. If you do not have a positive net worth, if you're in debt, then you're not going to be able to do fun things, to have fun experiences, and you're not going to be able to borrow money. The bank's not going to want to allow you to borrow money. So sometimes people end up spending more paying rent than they would have if they purchased a house because they don't have that equity, those assets for them to borrow money against. So I know that these are really big real world lessons, but they're very important for you to know and understand. So next, I want you guys to go ahead and work on your independent practice on your own. If you need help, you can use some of the next video for help, but definitely try on your own first.